It's not just a reshuffle, but a complete overhaul. The new Team Modi has younger, sharper faces. The average age of the cabinet has been brought down to 58 from 61. 12 sitting ministers have been shunted out. Here's what the new Modi cabinet looks like after this makeover.
Arrival of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has overhauled his team. In selecting his squad, the Prime Minister has dropped a few heavyweights and opted for a new mix of experience, younger faces and political viability. But more than that, the new faces, the reshuffle is making headlines for the big exits. Dr. Harshvardhan, who handled health, is out. The first admission from the Modi government of shortcomings in COVID management during the deadly second wave.
Minister Shri Narendra Modi.
Ravi Shankar Prasad, the law, IT and the telecom minister, also goes. He was recently caught in a face-off with social media giant Twitter. As law minister, he had piloted the controversial Citizenship Amendment Act.
According to that calculation.
Also out is the Environment Minister and the Information Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar.
Government in total.
And Education Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal. Amongst the new faces in is JYOTIRADITYA SCINDIA from Madhya Pradesh, rewarded for bringing down the Kamal Nath government and installing a BJP government there. NARAYAN RANE, the strong man from Maharashtra. SARBANANDA SONOWAL, the former Assam Chief Minister. And Bhupendra Yadav, the organizational heavyweight from Haryana. The Prime Minister has picked a few wild cards. Former IS officer from Odisha, Ashwini Vaishnav, who holds an MBA from Wharton School and MTech from IIT Kanpur. Industrialist RAJEEV Chandrasekhar from Karnataka.
As such, Minister of State.
Dr. Munjapada Mahendra Bhai, a cardiologist from Gujarat. But all are practicing politicians, no outsider technocrats have been brought in. The entire exercise undertaken keeping politics in mind. So there are 7 new ministers from Uttar Pradesh, the state which goes to polls in the next few months. 4 from Bengal, where the party is restive following the crushing it got in the assembly polls, and 4 from Maharashtra, where the BJP hopes to break the Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi at some point. Prime Minister Modi has done some social engineering as well. The average age of the government is down from 61 to 58. There are 27 OBCs now in this ministry, 12 Dalit ministers and 8 tribals.
The Union Council of Ministers.
Modi Cabinet 2.0 has a completely new look and face. The inclusion of the new ministers has taken the number of SCs, STs and OBCs to significant proportion of the Union Council of Ministers. The messaging is very clear. The thrust is on the inclusion of more members of the backward and marginalized sections of society, those representing them. It remains to be seen now if the political messaging has been on point and if it turns out to be a vote catcher for the Bharatiya Janata Party. With camera person Anurag Saxena, Polami Saha in Delhi for India Today.
One of the big gainers today, Kiran Rijiju from Arunachal Pradesh, speaking to the media just now. Let's listen in.
का पूरा माहौल देश में बदल गया है।
अब खिलाड़ी कूदोगे बनोगे खराब बना नहीं है।
प्रधानमंत्री जी ने एक खेल का माहौल को देश में एक नया जोश भरा है, नया दिशा दिया है। इसलिए ओलंपिक्स में हमारे खिलाड़ी सब तैयारी करके अभी जाने के लिए पूरा इंतजार कर रहे हैं।
सर, एक सवाल है कि क्या परफॉर्मेंस एक वजह बना है? कई बड़े नाम क्योंकि सरप्राइज रहा जो ड्रॉप हुए।
वो मेरे
ओलंपिक सब कुछ दिन दूर है सर। ऑफिशियल डेलीगेशन आपने पहले भी कहा था कि नहीं जाएंगे, बट क्या आप जाएंगे सर?
नहीं, मैं तो देखो, ओपनिंग सेरेमनी जो होता है वो सरकारी इवेंट होता है, वो डेलीगेशन इवेंट होता है, और विलेज का जो इवेंट होता है वो अलग होता है जी। जो ओपनिंग सेरेमनी में जो डेलीगेशन होता है उसका अभी तय नहीं हुआ।
तो सर अब आगे क्या हम देखेंगे, क्या प्राथमिकताएं अब आपकी रहेगी?
अभी हम सबसे पहले तो आप लोग को धन्यवाद देना चाहते हैं। आप लोग यहाँ इंतजार किया है इतना देर तक।
थैंक यू सर।
You know, he was Minister of State with independent charge for sports and youth affairs. It will be interesting to see what portfolio he gets. I'm told by sources highly placed in this government that the list of new portfolios will be out any time after 9. Remember, they've kept us waiting in the past during Modi 1.0. This time, it's been very organized, very well planned in comparison with the format followed earlier. Far more information flowing in. Post 9 p.m. is when the list of portfolios will be put out just in time for Rajdeep's show, who's now live with us. Rajdeep, welcome. With us also on this broadcast is Managing Editor at Business Today Television, Siddharth Zarabi. On the broadcast is Rahul Srivastav, our National Affairs Editor. We have with us Shankar Iyer, well-known author, economist, commentator. Sheila Bhatt understands the minds of the most powerful ministers in this government better than most, having tracked them from their time in Gujarat. She's joining us on this broadcast. Well-known political journalist is also Smita Prakash, Editor-in-Chief of news agency ANI. Let me start by asking Rajdeep first. What, according to you, is the big message in the exits and in the entries?
I wish there was one big message. If there was one big message, you could put that out straight away and say, look, this has been a ruthless exercise aimed at performance appraisal. And then you will ask yourself, is every minister who has retained his portfolio there because he has performed, and are all those who've exited losing out because they didn't perform? I don't think that would be fair to say. You could argue that this ministry is about political accommodation, reaching out to 25 states, union territories, reaching out to the right caste groups, and creating, in a sense, a more representative character of this government, the youngest ever council of ministers as is being projected. All these messages are there somewhere, but I think the larger message is that Narendra Modi's government and the Prime Minister government is a PMO-centric government that now wants to bring in a bit of fresh energy to somehow or the other over the next 2 years give the sense that this government has overhauled itself and is now more target oriented. Let's be clear, there's an admission today, and I think it's big, the first time, an admission of failure which has led to accountability. The health minister being the most stark example. But as many as 12 out of 54...
So is it failure or suboptimal performance? That you haven't lived up to the Prime Minister's exacting standards?
We can call, in some cases, there must be stark failures, others suboptimal performance, others are seen to have made more noise than necessarily news. The fact is, out of 54 ministers in the previous government, Rahul, 12 have lost out. That's the largest number. I'm trying to look at any reshuffle. That's the largest number in percentage terms. More than 20% or almost 20% of sitting ministers have lost their portfolios. I think that's an even bigger story than the fact that you brought in a seemingly younger guard, because I don't see this overflowing with talent. There is a talent deficit. Let's recognize that. But I think the bigger message is we are going to ensure an element of accountability, and hopefully out of ensuring that element of accountability, we will perform a bit better in the next 2.5 years. So unlike Modi 1.0, where there was tinkering around with the cabinet, this time it's an overhaul. In that sense, a recognition that post-COVID, post-pandemic, this government needed to do something to give the impression that we are charting a different course.
The Prime Minister felt the need to take over the reins once again, give new energy and vigor to his cabinet. Shankar Iyer, Ravi Shankar Prasad, clean bold. Prakash Javadekar out of the stadium as far as the government is concerned for the time being, as also Nishank Pokhriyal, the HRD minister, and most prominently Harshvardhan, the health minister. What is the message in those who've been asked to put in their papers, according to you, Shankar?
I think the Prime Minister has the prerogative to change his team. He has clearly identified people who have let him down, who have caused a dent in the party's image, and who have been identified as being responsible for suboptimal performance or failures, as in the case of the management of COVID. I think there is a clear message there. I think the other message that is coming out is that the Vajpayee era is sort of ending. You have just Rajnath Singh now from that era. I think this is a succession plan with a political twist. It's a succession plan with a combative phase being brought in. Now, all of these are political elements one can only assess as to what the new agenda, what the new focus will be when we know what the portfolio allocation looks like. And some of the inductees are quite interesting. The induction of Vaishnav Ashwini, the induction of Bhupendra Yadav, the Mumbai lawyers circuit is buzzing that Bhupendra Yadav could be the next law minister. There is a buzz that Sarbananda Sonowal could be the education minister. We don't know. I mean, finally, Mr. Modi's cabinet portfolio allocation is probably the best kept secret in the country. So we will see when the allocations are done, whether the issues that we identify for the exit of some ministers are being addressed by induction of talent to address those. So it would be very interesting to see who comes in for the health ministry, for instance.
Sheila, but
who is taking charge of education. Those will be clear signals.
You understand the minds of both Prime Minister Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah very well. You've tracked them for decades. You understand how they're wired. Ravi Shankar Prasad, Prakash Javadekar both being asked to resign. Why do you think this happened?
This is the most difficult question that you have asked me, but I think it must be very serious. And I think today's cabinet reshuffle and the entire event will be overshadowed by these two resignations, because as a journalist, this is the most important focus we should have, that why they have resigned, what happened under which events. So since it has just happened, I think in less than 2 days or less than 2 weeks, we will surely know. But I think my own judgment is that Prakash Javadekar, since two weeks, there was a buzz that he won't be in IB minister, and there was a buzz that Ravi Shankar Prasad will not be law minister. One of the ministries they would be losing. But now I think majorly INB minister has a certain performance, and that is the weight of the IB minister should be such that his weight in the media, his image. I think Prakash Javadekar was not able to handle this entire government and second surge and everything. The way India looked so bad and it came out so hopeless for almost 20 days. I think somebody had to handle that on behalf of the government, and INB minister has a special role in it. And also about the environment also, because environment is now a very big focus since the new government in America has also come, and generally we know that climate change is a very big subject. So I think in the both ministry, something was lacking and he had to go, and we would be knowing very soon which events took place or what happened. And in Ravi Shankar Prasad case, it's very obvious. All of us can see such a big nation, India, and just one IT company is not even ready to accept your law. So what kind of a backroom negotiations, or how can you face such a breakdown of a entire offer which the country is making to these companies? I mean, what all happened in last 20-30 days since this law has come, it's amazing. It can never happen. It has to be handled well, because
Rahul Srivastava, what's your best sense
is about democracy
of what led to these decisions, the axing especially of Ravi Shankar Prasad and Prakash Javadekar, apart from Health Minister Harshvardhan, which is understandable, and the HRD Minister?
I think this public, whatever happened in second surge, I think it has something to do with these two, all three resignation, I would say.
Rahul Srivastava, what do you know?
Health Minister.
Rahul, there are several versions which are emerging. One, the several adverse court verdicts, statements, especially as Sheila is saying during the second surge, on the handling of the crisis, with Delhi High Court even going to the extent of threatening with a contempt of court element. Also, there could well be, some people are saying that the entire Digital India movement, but Javadekar also, there were certain negative reports. Even the RSS, it seems, was unhappy with the idea of the INB ministry, as Sheila is saying. But there is one important element is that these ministers were given additional portfolios despite them, each one of them being very critical ministries by the Prime Minister. Now, to say that if non-performance was the sole criteria, there is one more argument which in the last 1 hour has emerged, that is it possible that the government realizes that over the last 1 year or so, it was depending on some junior players and spokesperson as far as the defense or the publicity of this government is concerned. Is it possible that two of the most prominent spokespersons of the BJP in the past who became ministers had 3-4 portfolios? Is it possible that they are going back to the party fold, handling what the BJP desperately needs?
Just pause that thought.
In terms
The
of
senior
image
most
correction?
person to be sworn in today was Maratha strongman Narayan RANE. He's speaking at this moment. Let's listen in.
नरेंद्र मोदी जी, माननीय अमित जी शाह और महाराष्ट्र के विपक्ष के नेता फडणवीस साहब, इस सभी का बहुत आभारी हूँ, उनको धन्यवाद देता हूँ। उनके वजह से ही मैं आज मंत्री बन गया हूँ। मैं माननीय पंतप्रधान मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में केंद्रीय मंत्री बन गया हूँ। उनके मार्गदर्शन से मैं अपने देश में जो जिम्मेदारी देंगे वो मैं अच्छी तरह से संभालूंगा। इतना ही आज के दिन आपके साथ आपको बताना चाहता हूँ, इसके आगे कुछ
आता केंद्रीय मंत्रिपदाची शपथ घेतलेली आहे। नगरसेवक ते केंद्रातले कॅबिनेट मंत्री, हा प्रवास आजच्या
Cut out of Narayan RANE because the New Delhi MP, now Minister in the Union Cabinet, Meenakshi Lekhi, is speaking at this time. Let's listen to the Supreme Court advocate.
नहीं कुछ नहीं यार, सबको मना यार, बस
चलो शुरू करो।
नई दिल्ली से 2 बार सांसद रह चुकी मीनाक्षी लेखी जी इस वक्त पहुंच चुकी हैं।
Okay, that's Meenakshi Lekhi. She was hopeful for an induction previously. Okay, let's listen in.
अपनी प्रधानमंत्री जी, पार्टी के सभी लोग, अध्यक्ष जी और अपने सभी नेता अमित भाई को सबको धन्यवाद देना चाहती हूँ ये मौका देने के लिए। और इस क्षेत्र की जनता, देश की जनता जिसने हम पे विश्वास किया है, पूर्ण निष्ठा के साथ, पूरी ईमानदारी के साथ जो भी सेवा हो पाएगी वो की जाएगी।
महिला होने के नाते मुद्दे महिलाओं से संबंधित उठाएंगी, उनका प्रतिनिधित्व करेंगी।
मैं भाई साहब, जब आपको वोट पड़ती है ना तो महिला पुरुष देख के नहीं पड़ती।
दिल्ली की जिम्मेदारी
That's Meenakshi Lekhi, who's been sworn in today. We've just seen Home Minister Amit Shah put out his first comments on this expansion, and he says, मंत्री पद की शपथ लेने वाले सभी साथियों को बधाई। मुझे विश्वास है कि नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में पूरा मंत्रिमंडल पूर्व निष्ठा व समर्पण से सरकार की कल्याणकारी नीतियों को जन जन तक पहुंचाने व आत्मनिर्भर भारत के संकल्प को साकार बनाने में अपना सर्वश्रेष्ठ योगदान देगा। Government for growth, that's the hashtag. RAJEEV Chandrasekhar speaking at this moment. Let's listen.
ये सब बड़े बड़े पॉलिटिकल क्वेश्चन आप मत पूछिए। मुझे एक मौका दिया गया है काम करने के लिए, देश के लिए, और मैं मानता हूँ कि मैं डट के काम करूँगा। No, I'm grateful to the Honorable Prime Minister and to my party for giving me this opportunity. I have been a member of Parliament for 15 years. And this is indeed an honor and a privilege to serve in the cabinet under the leadership of our Prime Minister. And I hope to work hard and deliver on the expectations that the Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, and the party has in it.
Some eyes on South Indian politics.
Look, I think this is too early to be asking political questions. This is an opportunity for me.
So that's an interesting addition at a time when the government is at war with the social media giant Siddharth. is there a possibility that he could get one of the IT telecom ministries? But in the past, if you've been an operator in a particular sector, the Prime Minister has typically kept that person away from that ministry so that there is no potential conflict of interest.
So, Rahul, I'll just answer that question, but I just want to say, in terms of cricket, if you were to say the playing 11 for the test, what has happened today? 7 existing players in the team have been elevated to test status. 4 are not going to be changed, the big 4, so that makes it 11. Now, what are the interesting ministries that are up for grabs? Like you started the show, the portfolios are key. If you look at the portfolios, commerce, railways, all of them are fine, roads is there, but what we have to now look out for is law and justice, telecom, I&B, environment, health, education, social justice. That makes it 7. And who are the key players? I am going to argue here before you that IT, while it is clubbed as a ministry with telecom, there is very little that is coterminous. It's just a function of many decades that this kind of arrangement has been made. So you need in I&B someone who can interface and work at least in controlling some of the negative press that comes. Remember, this government has also decided that just before the crucial multilateral meeting is hosted by India in a couple of years of time, that there will be an international operation of Doordarshan, which will cater to providing information globally. Who will do that? A small tender has come out. I know for a fact that even that process has been delayed. So the I&B ministry is a significant policy arm. There have been delays on many things. There have been complaints even from the media industry with regard to certain things that have been stuck up in the ministry. So that's one part. Telecom, huge issues of taking connectivity to the ground level. Let's not get taken away from the fact that in cities we do get multiple access. In Bharat, in rural hinterland, there's a lot that needs to be done. There's a lot of money pending with the USO fund, Rahul, which is not being spent. Bharat Sanchar has been asking for an order for 2.5 years, and that order has not been given to them.
RAJEEV Chandrasekhar is live with us right now. Let's just dip in and listen to what he's telling Kamaljeet Sandhu.
To work on, I will work. I think this is about an opportunity to serve the country as part of the overall mission that the Prime Minister has laid out. Whatever little task he assigns me, I will try and do my very best to deliver whatever his expectation.
You're an entrepreneur. You're also somebody who's very active on Twitter. Now, we've seen whether it's Ravi Shankar Prasad or Prakash Javadekar. Do you think you would have interest in these particular fields, or are you open to any portfolio which is allocated to you?
I don't think it works that way. I think in a cabinet system, the Prime Minister assigns tasks to various ministries and ministers, and whatever task I am given, I will focus on that. I will have to focus on that, and that will going to be my endeavor. That I would give my 200%, and whatever the Prime Minister expects from me.
Were you expecting this call, or was it a total surprise for you?
No, it is always a surprise, because I got a call very late yesterday, and so I've always worked without very much of expectations of any of these things happening. But it's always a good surprise to know that the Prime Minister thinks it worthy.
When you went inside LKM, what were you told? What were you apprised of?
These are not issues that I want to get into. Today is a day that I think it's been a long day, and it's a day that I'm still coming to terms with, and I'm looking forward to the work as that is assigned to me and the challenges that I can take on.
Wishing you all the very best.
Thank you very much.
So Hindi is more popular.
Now go across quickly to G. Kishan Reddy, Member of Parliament from Secunderabad in Telangana. He is speaking at this time. Let's listen in.
ప్రతి ఎన్నికల ప్రణాళికలో పెట్టినటువంటి అంశం అది. ఆ యొక్క ఆర్టికల్ 370 తొలగింపులో కానీ, ఆ తర్వాత సిటిజన్ అమెండ్మెంట్ యాక్ట్ రూపకల్పనలో కానీ, పార్లమెంట్లో తీసుకొచ్చినటువంటి హోంశాఖ సంబంధించినటువంటి.
He will now be a full-rank cabinet minister. Smita Prakash, NARAYAN, RANE, SARBANANDA, SONOWAL, Virendra Kumar, JYOTIRADITYA, SCINDIA and the others who were sworn in as cabinet ministers. We've spoken about those who were made to exit. What do you think is the message being sent by those who've been brought into this cabinet?
Yeah, which is why I wonder why Rajdeep had to say that lack of talent in this new cabinet. I mean, such a jumbo cabinet, 77 in the new government, 43 have taken oath. So out of the new people, nobody is talented. There are 13 lawyers, 6 doctors, 5 engineers, 7 civil servants, several PhDs, several graduates, MBAs. I mean, some of them have been chief ministers. Some of them have been ministers, some of them have been MLAs in state assemblies. So I can't understand why one would say that there is a lack of talent. I agree that the BJP always comes to the match with saying that there is a lack of intellectual heft in this bench. But here in this, you've just run Rajiv Chandrasekharan, you've just run Meenakshi Lekhi's soundbite. Are there lack of intellectual talent when you bring in these
thought just for a moment, because Jyotiraditya Scindia is speaking at this time. Smita, I'm coming back to you in a moment. Let's listen to Jyotiraditya Scindia for the first time, speaking after being announced as minister.
मेरा तार आपके पास
यार मेरे पास नहीं है।
एक मिनट में आप इधर रुक जाइए, सेटल है।
I'm telling you, if I get, I'm really going to beat up people, okay? वो यहीं आ रहे हैं।
We are picking up the live audio as we see Jyotiraditya Scindia is trying to settle everyone down over there. Sarbanda Sonowal, former Chief Minister, Assam, sworn in today as Union Cabinet Minister, speaking at this moment. Let's listen to him.
दूसरी बार के लिए भारत माता को सेवा करने के लिए मौका दिया है, अपने कैबिनेट में जगह दिया है। इसके लिए मैं प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी को हृदय से धन्यवाद और आभार व्यक्त करना चाहता हूँ।
सर नॉर्थ ईस्ट से हमने देखा कि
देखिए, मुझे तो बोलने दीजिए। बाद में हम बहुत और भी चर्चा करेंगे, ऐसा नहीं है कि नहीं करेंगे, क्योंकि आज शुरुआत है। तो इसलिए मैं साथ साथ में हमारी देश के माननीय गृह मंत्री अमित शाह जी को भी धन्यवाद देता हूं, और हमारी पार्टी की माननीय राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष जेपी नड्डा जी को मैं धन्यवाद देता हूं, क्योंकि हमारी परम आदरणीय नेतागण ने जो विश्वास हम पर जताया है, व्यक्त किया है, ये हमारे लिए एक सुनहरा मौका है देशवासियों को समर्पित भावनाओं से, भक्ति भावनाओं से सेवा करने का निष्ठा।
Sonowal, after this I want to go back again to Jyotiraditya Scindia, who's now managed to settle everyone and is speaking at this moment. Let's listen to him.
मंत्री अमित शाह जी ने मुझे प्रदान की है, मैं हृदय की गहराइयों से उनके प्रति कृतज्ञ हूं, और मेरी कोशिश रहेगी कि हर मेहनत के साथ और हर संभव प्रयास के साथ उनके आशाओं पर खड़े उतर पाऊं। ठीक है
सर, लंबा इंतजार करना पड़ा आपको।
अब इससे ज़्यादा मैं और कुछ अभी कहने नहीं वाला हूँ। अभी हम लोगों को बहुत मौके मिलेंगे चर्चा करने के लिए। मैं इतना ही आज कहना चाहता हूँ। मैं देखिए, आप मुझे जानती हो कि 20 साल से कि जो भी जिम्मेदारी दी जाती है एक कार्यकर्ता के रूप में मैं जरूर कार्य करूंगा, और हर संभव प्रयास मैं जरूर करूंगा।
Jyotiraditya Scindia, I want to go back to Smita Prakash, who was trying to make an argument before we had to go to Sarbanda Sonowal. Smita, go ahead, please.
Scindia.
Yes, so what I was saying was that, I don't think this team now lacks talent. They cannot just say, nobody can blame this government now of not having this rainbow council of ministers, from teacher to lawyer to techie to a tea garden worker to a Maharaj whom you just ran just now, to a lawyer. They've got everybody in the team. So I think the challenge would have been I mean, I'm sure by now the portfolios have been allocated, they've just not been announced. But the challenge would have been to place all these people in different places. And I think the way they've gone about this, firstly, the shocker, as Sheila also pointed out, this jhatka execution that was done, it was aimed, I think, at rejuvenation and improving the image of this government. What Siddharth said about the cricket metaphor, I'd like to bring in a war metaphor. It's as if, your chief has decided कि core commanders को ही बदल दो, and right from your major general level to the second lieutenant level, everybody will be changed. It's a new government altogether. So with a new government, one expects that whether it is the old agenda which could not be put into force because of various reasons, whether it's COVID or whether farm laws ran into trouble or whether the IT thing ran into trouble with Twitter and with the other things, whatever, whether the NRC, the CAA, whatever was the agenda, and if it could not be put into action, then I'm guessing that those will be put into action with this new team now.
Rajdeep, there are 7 PhDs, 3 MBAs, 13 lawyers, 6 doctors, 5 engineers, 7 civil servants, 68 ministers with graduate degrees, and you're calling this an underqualified government. And
I didn't use the word underqualified at all. The word I used is that I said that when you have removed 12 ministers out of 54, you've clearly identified that there needs to be an overhaul and an element of ministerial accountability. Those who have performed suboptimally are being replaced. Now, are the replacements all going to be of the kind that they will raise the profile of the government is a big question mark, because until you know the portfolios, at the end of the day...
The first cabinet meeting will happen tomorrow from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Thursday, 8th of July. And that will be the first cabinet meeting of the expanded Council of Ministers. Rajdeep, go ahead.
The point is that ultimately a government's profile is decided by how key portfolios perform, particularly in the new age in which we live. To my mind, the two big challenges are the economy at the moment, and the challenges, I believe, are also health and education. Health because of pandemic, and also education because of the impact that the pandemic has had on education systems across this country. Now, if you can put, and there is no doubt that there are at least 8 or 10 people who I think are both administratively competent. Remember, becoming a PhD doesn't make you administratively competent.
Sure.
But having the ability to run a ministry effectively, if you can have 10 key ministers who can deliver in these key areas, I think this government's image will be automatically transformed. That's taken a hit as a result of the pandemic.
No, but number 6 on that list was Ashwini Vaishnav. I think the Prime Minister is giving a signal about who he thinks of a technocrat. Technocrat is not somebody you bring from the outside, from the World Bank and make a minister. Rather, he thinks of a technocrat as somebody who's brought into politics, made a member of parliament, made to fight an election, or brought in as a Rajya Sabha MP, given some time to groom himself in the party ecosystem, and then, like this 1994 IAS batch officer, member of parliament from Odisha, he's then given a ministerial portfolio. So I think the Prime Minister is showing that his idea of a technocrat is not somebody you pluck from the IMF.
And also, if you have got an opportunity now, you will want to prove yourself. Look, how does sloth...
No, Rakesh Singh, Hardeep Puri, he likes this mold of a...
You see, is someone who understands systems. You see, you've got a systems-driven Prime Minister. He prefers, therefore, people who've come through the administrative system in a way and then can perform, because then they can achieve target. Look, the weakness of this government in the past has been that they've been accused at times of headline management and not outcomes. Now it's about outcomes, and hopefully the people that you have in key portfolios will focus on outcomes. I think those 10 key portfolios, there's no doubt there are 10 very talented people who, if they are put in the right place, can deliver.
Anupriya Patel starting to speak right now. Let's listen to her.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी अध्यक्ष माननीय नड्डा जी को और माननीय गृह मंत्री जी को मैं अपने सभी कार्यकर्ताओं और पदाधिकारियों की ओर से, अपना दल के सभी शुभचिंतकों और चाहने वालों की ओर से बहुत बहुत आभार व्यक्त करती हूं और हृदयपूर्वक उनको धन्यवाद देना चाहती हूं।
मैडम, आपको जो मंत्रालय दोबारा दिया गया है, तो ये कहा जा रहा है कि यूपी के चुनाव को भी नजर में रखा गया है। क्या आपको लगता है इससे फायदा होगा?
देखिए, हम एनडीए गठबंधन में हैं 2014 से, और हम 3 चुनाव साथ में लड़ चुके हैं, और तीनों चुनाव के जो परिणाम रहे हैं अब तक, वो इस बात को स्पष्ट रूप से प्रमाणित करते हैं कि अपना दल और भारतीय जनता पार्टी का उत्तर प्रदेश में जो राजनीतिक गठबंधन है उसे जनता पसंद भी करती है, उसे वोट करती है और हमें बार बार जनता की सेवा करने का अवसर भी देती है। तो इसलिए मेरा यही कहना है कि अपना दल एक सहयोगी के रूप में जिस प्रकार भारतीय जनता पार्टी के साथ मिलकर प्रदेश की जनता की सेवा करता आया है, आगे भी अब मंत्रिपरिषद में भागीदारी के बाद भी हमारी यही कोशिश होगी कि जिस वंचित, पिछड़े, शोषित, दलित, कमज़ोर समाज के लिए आवाज़ उठाने का काम अपना दल इतने वर्षों तक करता आया है, हम उसी को आगे बढ़ाएंगे। सामाजिक न्याय की चिंतन धारा को हमारी पार्टी सड़क से लेकर संसद तक आगे बढ़ाने का काम करती आई है और अब और भी ज़्यादा मजबूती से हम इसके प्रति संकल्पबद्ध रहेंगे।
Okay, Smita, Prakash and Sheila Bhatt. First to Sheila Bhatt, do you want to be brave and venture to tell us who do you think is getting what portfolio? किसको क्या मिल रहा है ये तो बताओ शीला बहन।
I really, you know, and very well, and everybody here knows that in Modi's rule, very few people are able to know who will get what. But I tell you, Rahul, even these questions are not very relevant because already we know that those who are sworn in as a cabinet minister will get all this. So we know that pool of talent. It is not something outside this swearing in. So more or less they will be getting something. Bhupendra Yadav, Ashwini, then Jyotirmaditya Scindia, all these people, they will get the big portfolios and rest of them. But I think, you know, I tell you 2-3 things I wanted to add, Rahul, today. One is that this government and whatever has happened today is a kind of a Kamraj plan of governance. So this is a very cabinet committee on security members, except that, you know, below that, lot of things have changed. And I think in Indian political history in center, I don't recollect any, where total all education home, all ministers have gone home. In a way, this 2 ministries has been vacated is quite shocking in that sense. So first of all, this defeat in West Bengal and whatever happened in India and Indian image on a global stage during second surge has led to this kind of a reshuffle. These 2 events has definitely impacted Prime Minister Modi. Second thing, this is a kind of a plan which is actually, people in Delhi don't like this word, but it is kind of a Gujarat model of governance or a cabinet making. Modi has this very fine tuning with a governance, caste leaders, and connecting it with the ground realities and ground situation, in the sense that those who have come as MOS, I think entire range of MOS today, they all have a backing back home of such voters who matters to the BJP. So all of us should see this from point of view of Mamata Banerjee, Congress, or Sharad Pawar or Stalin, that how they must be looking at it. And I am sure they must be also impressed to see that amount of work has gone to tie up all lakhs, 5 lakh votes here, 3 lakhs votes here. You know, the way they have put up all the ministers in MOS category is amazing. So this is what Modi and
Shankar Iyer, how does this compare with the 3 previous Modi cabinet reshuffles, and also with, say, what Atal Bihari Vajpayee did in his term and Manmohan Singh did during his 2 terms? How is this in form, in substance, different from what we've seen previously?
It's a very clear signal of succession to me. It's a very clear signal of bringing in younger people. It's a very clear signal of bringing in the excluded into the fold. It's a very clear signal of a very combative government that is being put together. Most of the faces, you know from previous interactions, that they are hard supporters of the party. There's no soft faces. There is an element of, we've been, you know, the party has been tarred in the past few weeks. The party has taken a hit. And so I think Prime Minister Modi has addressed some of the political shades and colors that needed in that rainbow, as you called it. He has also brought in younger people, so probably that could energize the government. What remains to be seen is how does he match the political coloring with the administrative requirement for change. And the exit of those ministers from those big tech portfolios, they are big shoes to fill. So we'll have to see how he fits that. And again, who comes in and fills the shoe of the health minister, who comes in as the education minister, who handles commerce, what kind of responsibility is given, and who handles heavy industries, the mess that public sector is in. Those are the issues that will be interesting. We keep saying that 43 new ministers and portfolio allocation. I think the entire portfolio allocation would be changed. So we must look at a completely new government, actually.
Do you share that sense, Siddharth Zarabi, that this is virtually a new government that's been sworn in today?
I think it's a very, very significant reshuffle, and obviously the portfolio change, as we have been doing the numbers, clearly more than 2 dozen significant portfolios will change. You know, first round effects, first round action and second round effects. Now, what is most key, and I would say that in the 2 years before the next general election by 2023 end, it's very clear that for this government to finish many of its programs, remember there is a plethora of schemes. Even in the Atmanirbhar package, as you know, there has been muted criticism of the lack of delivery, and the finance ministry has responded to that. Let me just give you one very small example, and that is very, very important to reviving the growth of the economy in the micro, small and medium enterprise. There was an announcement by the finance ministry, by the government, that their dues would be cleared by large PSUs very quickly, because there's a huge backlog, some massive numbers that have been spoken about, 4 lakh crore plus. I checked today specifically for what there is, and I got to know from some people that there are still significant delays, 90 days, 100 days, and I know that this issue had come to the Prime Minister's attention, and it was something that perhaps flowed from him directly. Now, these are the micro issues that he looks at. And I've said this 5 times now, I say it for the 6th time, the Har Ghar Mein Jal program has been facing delays. There's going to be a huge impetus there.
The Prime Minister's tweeted seconds before now to say, I congratulate all the colleagues who've taken the oath of office today and wish them the best for their ministerial tenure. We continue to fulfill aspirations of the people and build a strong and prosperous India. Hashtag government for growth. That's the same hashtag that's being used by all ministers. Rahul Srivastav, of course, the scale of the change will be known once the list of portfolios comes out. But in terms of signaling, and if this is to be a mid-course correction of sorts, in terms of policy architecture, which is the direction do you think the government is likely to take on the back of this big expansion?
You see, Rahul, eventually everything is aimed at 2024. It is that eventually all will get dovetailed into that one big effort. If there is an attempt to do an administrative fix in terms of delivery, creation of policies, more vigorous, energetic perusal vis-a-vis the challenges, that's one element which will become clear, as you said, after the portfolios are clear. Because if you see right now, there are more big-ticket exclusion omissions, people who have been dropped, than the names who figure in the included list. So one will have to really wait that how the portfolios are allocated and what strength has been identified of each individual that will be useful in that portfolio. I think political fix is very clear. I think the Prime Minister is shifting the social base of the BJP from predominantly in Atal Bihari Vajpayee's time to a party of the upper caste. The OBC focus, 27 ministers, 12 from the SC, 8 from the tribals, women. All these are very clear signals which have been sent out. Newer leaders from different regions being brought in. I think past elections and future elections, a lot of those elements have been taken care of. And that is why I will say, eventually, I think one more hour, the portfolio will give an indication that what kind of tailoring has been done as far as the government's delivery mechanism is concerned.
Smita Prakash, you want to be brave and venture to tell us who do you think is getting what portfolio as I end this broadcast for the time being?
Well, the Prime Minister is addressing IIT directors tomorrow morning, and we've been told that the new Education Minister will be there. So, which means that before 11 a.m., the portfolios are anyway going to be distributed and given out. And if you see the way the expansion has been done, or this new government has come into place, obviously, you know, a lot of work has gone in to make sure that, like Rajeev pointed out, 12 SC ministers, 2 in the cabinet, ST ministers, 27 OBC ministers, and then we talked about the lawyers, etc., etc. So if so much work has gone in to make this cabinet and this council, I'm sure that when they're allocating portfolios, they're going to be giving them a list of do's and don'ts, and there's going to be a time frame, very corporate level of working, where they will be told that this is what is expected out of you. If it's not already been told, this is what is expected to you, and this is the time frame where you have to deliver. So, you know, talking about soft face and things like that, I don't think that has been a criterion at all. It's been people who are going to deliver, those who are not going to BS at all, those who are going to be fighting back and making sure that the BJP line is put forward, not the nice guy, not the nice gal line.
Okay, so this is where we pause, take a break, and as I said, I asked a very senior government functionary what time will the portfolios be out. The reply I got was that after 9. You know, will there be like a dramatic flourish bang at the top of the 9 o'clock wheel? We'll have the portfolios coming out, or will it be delayed? Frankly, I don't know. But after 9 is what I was authoritatively told. So it won't be tomorrow, it will be tonight. So you have a long night ahead. Actually, I was hoping to watch the England match tonight. But given what's happening, and if we're going to be up, who knows, we may be up till 12:30 straight up. I hope that doesn't happen. But let's see how it goes. For the time being, Sheila Bhatt, Shankar Iyer, Rahul Srivastav, Smita Prakash, Siddharth Zarabi, thank you for joining us. We will pause just for a moment to take a break, and then we'll talk about the end of an era in Indian cinema. Veteran actor Dilip Kumar passed away today. Tributes poured in nationwide. I'll show you how India remembered Dilip Sahib on the other side. Stay.